And here we are. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It is me, Duke CT, with a special Duke CT Lounge on my main channel because it was Wrestlemania weekend, baby. Woo! And what a weekend it was. In the aftermath of said weekend. What an aftermath, right? It
Right, man.
was.
Right, man.
I
Oh
I
man,
I mean,
excuse me.
it's all right. But we got LV, joining us here, the WrestleMania Roundtable, and I gotta say this though, the show as a whole was good. But we had to talk about the ending and then the whole Vinnie Mac coming back, which, let's be honest, he knew he was gonna come back. Uh, it's not really a surprise. And
It
I just,
sure was a surprise to certain people. I don't know why, but
oh, by the way, I do like this. I think we saw this like on the Skype talkers and such. Um, this one right here, if you see the this whole thing here, ladies and gentlemen, it's like Vince McMahon's like, I've made mistakes, but I owned up to every single one. Please, this man basically, you know, got caught with every single all the horrible stuff he did. I don't even count about the stuff that the misconduct that got him ousted the first time. I mean, all the stuff I'm talking like the Ring Boy scandal, the Superfly snooker drama, Owen Hart, all that. And not only did he not just get the bag, but he pretty much iced out everybody in his entire family. That's what he did. He iced them all out, and it's just it's not really surprising, but it is like some people are like, "What? He iced them all out? Really?" I mean, you thought that old Papa Hunter was going to win the whole thing. You don't know anything about the history and everything. It's just people just need to learn the hard way. You know, you have to learn the hard way. Sadly.
don't learn your history. You're doomed to repeat it. At the end of the day, I mean, because it's like, I mean, look, like it's like a lot of people has always said, when Vince quote unquote retired, like he was, he still had the majority of stock. So So at some point in time, it was still his company, even though he ran away like a coward. Like it was still his company. And a lot of people was predicting, look, as far as Vince goes, and as far as the wrestling niche goes, like it's very, very niche to the national public. So there was a chance that, much like with any wrestling scandal that reaches the public media, besides the Chris Benoit stuff, it's all a matter of just letting stuff die down. And with Vince, I mean, like, look, he basically just slither his way in because again, it's his company. And then everybody was like, "Oh, he can't do that. He can't do that." It's like, yes, he can. It's his company. Do y'all not understand? When he said that he was retiring, it was a PR move. It was for him to get away from all that scrutiny from the national public, because again, all that stuff was going national. So it wasn't a point of him retiring. He was running away. He was trying to get away from it. But at some point in time, he was going to slither his way back in. And much like with any other Vince McMahon scandal, it's just going to die down and people are not going to care. And great example is tonight when a lot of people was saying, "Oh, fire Vince because he's booking." But y'all wasn't having that same type of energy when all this other stuff was coming out just a few months ago. And as a matter of fact, a lot of y'all was doing the thank you Vince bullshit. It's
Oh,
like,
they were bowing down. They were like, "Oh man!" And I just like I remember when Stephanie went out there, led that "Thank you, Vince" chant. I was like, seriously. And these are the same people right now are going through, oh, Oh my gosh, man, we got Vince is bad. I'm like, you wasn't yelling, thank you, Vince, earlier, like 8 months and everything. That was it's nasty. And then during those investigations, I find it know what the most hilarious and just mind-boggling thing, and some people like would not believe this, but then again, it's Vince. He wanted, and he did, go on to SmackDown. He wanted to address. He wanted to address the whole thing, but they had to talk him down. So he just had to do a generic, well, we're here forever and I'm not going to go anywhere. And then he did the same thing on Monday Night Raw. You had that little skip, that little jumping meme he did. It's hilarious. It's just so messed up, but yet you know, you knew that we all knew that Vince was not going to get any type of consequence. There was not going to be any consequence for him, and we're here right now with him not only owning WWE again, doing all this stuff, but now they got this new TKO stuff, right? They got this new endeavor, all this other stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be, Vince is going to be not just in WWE, but I wouldn't be surprised he starts booking UFC stuff. I mean, would you be surprised if he does it? Come on now.
Right. Now as far as him actually, like making matches and all that, like I'm not expecting that, but would it surprise me? Nah, not really, but I'm definitely not expecting it.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, and for people just like, oh, oh, this is just, you know, um, just like everyone's like going back to, oh, Vince, oh, F you, Vince. I'm like, man, I'm not going to even I'm not going to get WWE's time and energy and such. I mean, that's the real F you to Vince. Just don't get any type of energy to him. You know?
Yep, I mean, like it goes back to what you, myself, a lot of people's been saying for years. If you really want change in WWE, you got to speak with your wallet. You going on social media trying to tell people to do hashtag fire Vince, go out into the actual crowd where you bought a ticket to this man's show. It's not Triple H's show. It's not Bruce Pritchard's show. It's Vince McMahon's company. So you're buying a ticket for his company, which means you're making him money and you're going to go to his actual show just to tell fire Vince. And it's like we keep saying for years. If you want change, speak with your wallet. You spending your time on a Monday or a Friday or a Tuesday, or in some cases a Saturday or Sunday night, watching a show that's ran by Vince, and you going on the internet still to this day, whining and complaining about this stuff, and at the same time expecting Endeavor of all people, you expect Ari Emanuel of all people to listen to y'all now? Really? I mean, look, when it comes to Ari Emanuel, this is the same guy who employs Dana White. And a lot of y'all had an issue with Dana White, especially with his domestic abuse thing earlier this year. So y'all expect Ari Emanuel, you expect Endeavor to listen to y'all geeks, especially when y'all guys are buying these shows. Y'all have the Peacock subscriptions. Y'all was just at WrestleMania weekend. You guys are watching SmackDown tonight, and y'all sending out these little emails or whatever saying to hijack SmackDown as if that's supposed to mean, man, look, stop it.
It
If you
is.
want stuff
It's
to change, if you want stuff to change, you got to speak with your wallet. This goes back to the mid 90s when the WWF was going through their new generation uh era period when they was going against WCW. This is when they started the NWO stuff, and at that point in time, the WWF was near about to go out of business because nobody was buying anything. Nobody wasn't watching their shows, and it came to a point where they was like, "Hey, look, we got to do something. We got to do something." And guess what they did? The Attitude Era came, and the rest was history. But see, man, I don't know, man. Like I'm just on repeat at this point, but nobody don't listen to.
Yeah,
me
no
or
one's
whatever the
listening.
case is.
Uh, I stopped doing this. I mean, I got like my dad got Peacock to watch like some some I think Quantum League or whatever. He just said, "Oh, add me on the account." I'm like, okay, fine. I watched most of the stuff this weekend, and honestly, there was there are some going back to WrestleMania. There was some stuff that I enjoyed. Mostly, I think there was some the best matches. I think honestly, the one match that just gave me the biggest laugh was like John Cena pretty much sandbagging Austin Theory, and that's what it was. I was like, my goodness, could this man even not? He did not even try. Did you watch that match? Because I tried. I tried to watch it, and I was like, this is supposed to be him giving to Theory the next big guy. You know what I'm talking about, right? He's like, Theory's going to get this big rub. He's going to get this big push. They're trying really hard to rehab him. And Cena just like, all right, we'll just do our match. I'll do my 5-knuckle shuffle, ref bump. I'll get the STF and just not even try. That was the match. And I'm like, might be the last John Cena match we get until he goes to the Hall of Fame or whatever. And that's how he goes out on. What does that tell you about the direction of the
And
company?
man, listen, the one thing I need people to stop doing, and this ain't directed at everybody, but there's been a huge amount of clowns, like, and I ain't, like I'm trying not to be be a bully or where the case is or how people are going to take that. But y'all need to get off this hill that Austin Theory is some guy we need to be taken seriously because he's not. And this match he had with John Cena was a great example of that. John Cena did not care in that match. He did not care. He was phoning it in that night. He was phoning it in, and as usual, they have Austin Theory win by either cheating or slip on a banana peel, and then afterwards, what has that done? Nothing. Like it has done absolutely nothing. And to be quite honest, I don't blame John Cena for phoning it in because it's Austin Theory. Like this was the same guy that got booked to cash in a Money in the Bank briefcase on a mid card title and still lose. And there were people defending that nonsense. And people were saying, "Oh, just wait to play out. Where did it play out? Oh my god!" And I'm like, "No, no, no. Have you guys not watched this product?
Yeah,
Have you
that
guys
was
not?
it.
Have you guys not watched this?
I mean, you
And
talk
it's
about
like,
Liv Morgan, who, man, Liv Morgan got screwed. At least she cashed in and won. She actually won the title. I wasn't expecting Theory to actually, actually win against Roman, but come on. I saw that. I was like, are you seriously kidding me? I was like, I was gonna give Hunter a little bit of the doubt. I was like, I can give you some okay. This is you're giving Theory, you're doing all this stuff. And then he not only lose, he lost it, he lost in the most embarrassing fashion. I'm like, this was hilarious.
like
But
in the whole thing, and like the whole thing and the whole thing about that was this, a lot of people wanted to say, "Oh, well, like we all knew Theory wasn't going to lose to Roman, but at the same time, what kills y'all argument instantly is that Theory lost to Rollins by cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase on a mid card title." So, so with all that being said, the better way of doing this was simply this: you could have had Roman Reigns and Austin Theory have a match for at least 15 to 20 minutes. And if I was booking it, I would tell Roman, like, look, Roman, listen, you are going to go over. You are not losing the Theory, but I need you to make Theory look like $100. Make him look like $100. And a great example of Roman making someone look $100. And I've mentioned this match 1,000 times when people want to argue with me about this. I want you guys to look at the match with Roman Reigns and Buddy Murphy. Now, when Roman Reigns and Buddy Murphy wrestled in the main event, like there was plenty of people saying that Buddy Murphy looked like a star in that match, and Roman could have done the same thing with Theory, and then you go from there. Then you go from there. It's
It,
easy. It's just too
wrestling,
easy. Like,
they make wrestling hard when it doesn't need to be. But let's move on and we get to the next match, which was surprisingly good. The four-way tag spectacular stuff. Every person in this match did really well. Everyone did. Best spot of it was Chad Gable, aka Shorty G. Who did that nice little, German suplex on Braun Strowman. Uh, the Viking Raiders did some good stuff too. Reminded people that how cool and good they are since they've been in this limbo for a long while. Um, Street Profits are the Street Profits, and I'm like, you know what? I would say people say, "Oh, we gotta get rid of Monte Force needs to dump Andre." I mean, Dawkins is good. He's good. He's a big dude, can actually move and such. I'm like, yeah, he's good. And I'm just like, and I hope they don't break up the Street Profits anytime soon because they do have this, they are really good with a good tag team. And if they win singles titles, keep them together. What a concept. I mean, WWE had did that before. I mean, I remember the Hardys, Edge and Christian. They won titles and stayed together. Why is this like, well, he won a singles title, best break them up? I don't know why that mindset's there now. It's weird. It's weird, and I don't know why they have that mindset. But overall, I like that. I like the tag match. Did you see it? Because it was actually a good one. It was good.
yeah, like I thought that was a fun match, especially for a match that nobody cared about. I think really the highlight of this whole match was actually Titus O'Neil on commentary because a lot of the spots that happened in this match, out of all the people in there, as far as commentary go, Titus had the most genuine reaction, and that's what made the match even more enjoyable. But like if it was just Michael Cole and Corey Graves, they would just
Who
had the
is terrible?
same, they would just had the same old generic WWE commentary, like incredible, wow, I cannot believe that happened. But when Titus was on
It's
commentary, like it was like, oh my god, I was like, oh, look, like it made me feel as if I was watching a match with a friend who never watched wrestling before, and it's just marking out after all those spots. So I
oh
think
yeah,
I think that's what made the match even more enjoyable.
oh yeah. Titus O'Neil has proved that he is actually a really good commentator, and I hope he does do more commentary stuff. Next up is Logan Paul with his dollar store entrance to Shawn Michaels, which it was. I don't care if people say, "Oh, it looks cool." I'm like, no, it's not. Compared to that, it's not even close. Against taking Seth Rollins, good match. Logan Paul, I always say this, and it just it bugs me a bit, but it's actually to me funny how Logan Paul is pretty much fathered, much more. Feel like he's been doing this like for like a couple years and such, a year and such, and yet he is more further ahead than Dominic Mysterio, and he's been Dominic Mysterio is like he had like the cheat code of Rey Mysterio training him, and he's still. I'm like, I still can't believe that Logan Paul out wrestled Dominic Mysterio last year. That's probably why they had to turn Dominic heel. I bet they watched that match and said, you know what, we had to pretty much turn him heel. You know what I mean? That was it. And then this match here was good. Both guys, good chemistry. KSI come in with his you know, KSI just looking like a goof and then getting frog splash through the table and Seth Rollins hitting the stomp afterwards, I believe, after hitting it coast to coast, and then 1, 2, 3 wins. And I don't know what they're gonna do with Seth Rollins, but overall, I think it's this feud with Logan Paul. I believe is done, right? Because there's nothing else they can go.
I mean, it should be done if you ask me, because at the end of the day, the baby face won. But But as far as the match goes, I thought it was good. I don't think it was great. So I was a little bit disappointed with that. Like I did though mark out of KSI taking that frog splash on the table though. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. And yeah, like with as far as Logan Paul go, he's a great athlete. Like he learned very quickly, which we are starting to see a pattern of these guys who have never taken a bump or never been in any type of wrestling capacity. I'll throw in the punter, Pat McAfee in there as well. Like he was able to cut a promo when he was a heel in NXT better than most guys on the main roster. And that like I gotta like I ain't gonna hit here in front. Like I think that's kind of a red flag. To be honest, like you got all these guys that's been in on the independent scene or have been in the performance center or people on the main roster for years, and all y'all getting outshined by a punter. And you look at a guy like Logan Paul, with him having to learn as quickly as he does, and it's like you said earlier, with a guy like Dominic Mysterio, who's absolute trash. Like the only reasons why he's in the position that he is in now is because he's feuding with his dad, and his dad's one of the greatest baby faces of all time. So that's obviously going to get you heat. So, yeah, quite alarming if you ask me.
Yeah. And but yet, honestly, what else is alarming for WWE is like this could be the last match with Damage Control, and man, what a underwhelming run they had. I mean, Bailey, Dakota Kai, Io Sky. Um, they what did they do other than win the titles and just was made to be like the Three Stooges to like Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch? Because it just felt like they just weren't. They just never clicked. They just never were like this huge, threat as they were. And by the way, the match was fine. I think it could have been a little shorter. Lita looked okay. Trish looked okay. Becky Lynch looks all right. Bailey, I think she's already gone. She just looked like it felt like it's the same thing. What John said. Like she didn't like sandbag or anyone. She just like she was going through the motions for the most part, right? She just like she was going through the motions. And
Right.
the only thing memorable about that match was the entrance with Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch. The whole comic book type of entrance. But man, anything else? I just felt like it's the lack of potential for Damage Control.
Yeah. Well, like before I get into damaged goods, I do want to talk about Lita. And look, listen, Lita has no business wrestling. I mean, Lita looks horrible, and really, there's a reason why she hasn't wrestled in years, especially when she suffered that bad neck injury. She hasn't been the same since. There's a reason why she wasn't wrestling around 2005, 2006, when all she was just a Valley of Edge. And then she retired, and then she comes back. And ever since then, like it's just bad. Like it's just really, really bad. And it's embarrassing. And it's getting to the point now where I'm just, I'm just pretty much just asking myself, does Lita not watch what she does and not see how slow and how careful she is? Like it's pretty much to the point where it's just it just looks bad. So
Yeah, she's. I
we
mean, I grade on a curve because it's just that I look at it. It's like, man, she was great. Lita was unabashedly great. Once upon a time, she was great. But it you know, right now she's not that. She's not that. The only she has is that moonsault, which was she did great with the moonsault. That sort of stuff. She did like one of the good spots here, but Lita should not have been. I think her time has passed. It sucks, but right now Lita is you know, she could have been. I think she deserved a lot more than what she got in the first run in WWE. She should have been in more WrestleManias, but injuries and just bad storytelling and management really ruined her. And Yeah, it sucks, but that's what it happened. And this match, like I said, Bailey, I think I don't want to say she's gone, but I think she's just like I think she's gonna take a break. I think she's gonna take a good
Um,
break.
and as far as damaged goods go, a complete failure, a complete flop. And to anybody out there that's gonna blame Vince, you cannot blame Vince on this one. This was a Triple H project, and from the very beginning, they was doomed to fail. Like it came from, like the women's tag team title tournament, where you had damaged goods lose in the finals to Aaliyah and Raquel Gonzalez. I already knew right then and there that this wasn't going to end well. And as far as what Bailey goes, I mean, like, look, when it turned out Bailey returned from her injury, at that point in time, she was on the greatest run of her WWE career, and that was during the Thunderdome days. And a lot of people can argue that Bailey was the MVP of those Thunderdome days. And when she came back, I mean, she has done absolutely nothing. She's been treated like a geek. They they failed twice to pull the trigger of giving Bailey the belt when Bianca was champion. I would have had no issue with Bailey winning the belt, especially if you're introducing a brand new stable that people was excited for. Like if it's Bailey, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky all in one group. I mean, hey, I would be interested in that too. But they haven't done much of anything, and then it led to them losing the belts to a crippled Lita and Becky Lynch. Then here we go at Mania. They over here jobbing in a six man. And if it looks like Bailey is gone, I mean, really to be honest, I hope she is gone, especially now during these times. And hopefully she has enough sense, like her friend Mercedes Monet and Naomi, and get the hell up out of there. But we'll see though. Like I really don't know the status of her contract, or if there's a way
Mm.
for her to just say, "Hey, look, I want to be releasing." No, granted, I don't know, but
And she does get released. Um, Let me just I want to ask that question: is that where would she go and who? Um, where was she? What place would take her at? Um, what would the you know, where would she go and all that type of stuff? That's the question. Where would she think she would be used correctly? Because honestly, if I was doing the thing, I'll be like, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing her, on like say, not just AEW, but so I think Impact would actually. Funny enough, I think Impact has a great women's division, and I think she could probably rediscover her love and all that type of stuff. Oh, I think Writersblok is here.
Hey,
Writersblok, hey, what's up, man?
hey, hey, how's it going?
Oh,
Sorry about that. Work
no
kept me
worries,
late.
no worries, man. We're talking about basically damage control and the six-woman tag match, and Bailey pretty much. You think she's pretty much done in WWE?
It it sounds like she sees the writing on the wall and is. I mean, she might be gone. She might not be gone. It's one of those cryptic. Is this a work? Is this a shoot? Whatever kind of thing, and we'll see what happens. I mean, although I wouldn't be surprised if she decided to duck out because damage control has lost like a lot. So
When was the last time they would look like a threat? That's the question. When were they ever a threat?
SummerSlam.
yeah, SummerSlam, that's it. When they
That
debuted.
that is bad. I mean, that's like at least the
And,
firm at least has at
and
least
it
some interesting stuff. But dang,
and it's a shame. It's such a shame because you got three very talented women there, and you guys can't do nothing with them.
well, that's WWE for you. When they get something great, they usually they fumbled it. It is their prime destiny to fumble the bag.
It's
But
their it's their reason for living apparently.
Next match, didn't fumble the bag as Rey Mysterio. unleashed his inner Joe Jackson and beat the crap out of his son, Dominic Mysterio. This match right here was actually fun. I like the fact there was Dominic came out with prison, went out in prison and stuff, and the all this other things. Which, by the way, I think they WE had like B-roll of like Auschwitz and such, like in their previous thing.
Yes, they did, and they
like,
changed that real quick.
I'm amazed how they keep doing this. It's like, does Google not exist in their universe, or maybe just be careful? I would expect maybe a 2-bit indie, but to fail on this. But man, WE always seems to be like, don't worry, we'll screw this up in spectacular fashion, and don't worry, and try to fix it in post. But yeah, this was a fun match, though. It was a fun match, and Dominic, I mean, he knows how to play the crowd. He can get some, boos and such. But man, he's not good. He's not. He's not good. And I said, like I said earlier,
you mean like ring work?
Yes, he's not good. He's good at other things, but if he was like, he's just like, there's a reason why I believe they turned him heel. They turned him heel because when he was out wrestled, I truly believe this. When he was out wrestled last year by Logan Paul, they just like, you know what? We can't do that. We can't do anything with this man. We have to turn him heel, and we pretty much turned the Judgment Day into the. They turned them into basically the NPCs of the new version of the Saints Row. That's pretty much what they turned them into.
Well, it looked like they turned him into the Dominic Mysterio babysitting service.
But I do one thing. I did like the entrance of Rey Mysterio coming out with Snoop Dogg, Nothing But a G thing. Then
three different entrance music. Yeah,
I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't do it. Rey Mysterio's old WCW theme, which would have been perfect since he is going to Hall of Fame and such.
Right.
I'm surprised they never used that theme in WWE. Because seriously, that's a really good low key banger. I mean, that was one of the reasons why I watched that. When I heard that theme, I was like, "Yep, that's Rey Mysterio." When Rey Mysterio Jr. in WCW, pre taking off the mask, which I still love. That one of the best things WE said, "Hey Ray, you're putting the mask back on back in 2002 because Devil Horns Ray, no,
it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working."
Yeah. But the match though was fun. And I like the fact that they set up basically Bad Bunny as the for the next thing, and Rey Mysterio using his belt to whip his kid, which is, like I said,
that was just hilarious. That was hilarious to watch it. Just see him take the belt to Dominic just like that, and I wouldn't say that Dominic's like a bad wrestler. I just say he's still really green. I don't know how long he's been doing this. I was like, he's been doing this for like what, 2 years now?
Coming up 3.
Yeah. And
he should have just went. There's NXT is right there, and I'm like, you could have just
he
not.
He should have gone to NXT. I mean, and NXT is good enough for The Rock's daughter, but not good enough for Ray's. For Ray's son?
Yeah. LV, what do you think about that match, by the way?
Yeah, like as far as the match goes, I thought it was fun for what it was. Like there was a lot of heat. As far as Dominic, like I pretty much compare him to the likes of a David Flair. If any of y'all watching has ever witnessed the David Flair experiment in WCW, I think Dominic is at that level. Now as far as what's saving him, obviously, is his dad. Him feuding with his dad, who's one of the greatest baby faces of all time. That's instantly going to get you heat, and it also helps that you got Rhea Ripley, which Rhea Ripley is the MVP of that whole entire stable. Because without her, I don't think that stable is nothing. But yeah, like as far as what y'all said as well, he definitely does need to go to the PC. I think if he went to the PC, it'll help him out a lot. I mean, like especially when you got guys like Carmelo Hayes and Braun Breaker there, I think Dominic can easily be an NXT champion on a developmental show and show him how to talk, how to carry himself as a baby face or carry himself as a heel. And when he's ready, he can come on and, do what he got to do. But here, like his only saving graces is Rey Mysterio and Rhea Ripley. And once you strip them away, he's going to be nothing,
Oh gosh.
just complete nothing.
Now I'm just imagining. Now he's basically. Oh my goodness! It's like Rey Mysterio, and it's just like it reminds me of Daphne a bit. Rhea Ripley reminds me of Daphne and Crowbar. Damian Priest reminds me a bit of Crowbar. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is basically. It's like one step away at WCW 2000, which, oh boy.
The crazy thing, but I'll pretty much tell you what makes David Flair and Dominic Mysterio different is that at least with Dominic, he at least was taking advantage and feeding off of Rhea Ripley. But with Daphne and David Flair, man, like with Daphne, she was carrying him. She was carrying his ass throughout that whole entire act. And David Flair just didn't capitalize on it like I think he should have.
But he just had none of Rick's charisma. None of Rick's charisma.
It was the negative. He had negative charisma, and I mean, just tried. They did. It was like you ever see a company try to just copy another one. It's basically, oh my gosh, we have David Flair, and he's a young upper class prick. WF has one, Shane McMahon. We just have him copy that, which no, just no. And Dominic at least is competent. That's the one thing I would say. Yes. At least he's competent.
Yeah, I definitely say Dominic Mysterio is a better wrestler than David Flair. I'd say Shane McMahon's a better wrestler than David Flair.
Well, let's see. It's just was a. I'm looking at who was oh gosh. Let's see. Bill Watts' kid. Oh gosh, who was that? Who was the one who Eric Watts.
Thinking JJ Watts. Who?
Eric Watts. Eric Watts. If you remember the old WCW, he was the progenitor of this as he was getting monster pushes. The man was fighting against Steve Austin, Paul Orndorff, just was like beyond before he was ready. And Bill Watts was the booker at that time. So, that's a story for another time. But let's continue on. Which honestly, this is to me, if it wasn't for the main event, this would be actually a match of the night. Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Now the match started off slow, and I was like, ooh, this is looking bad, but it got better. And I was like, holy crap, this is great. These two had great chemistry. The action report, and I sit there and I'm like, where was this a couple years ago for the NXT title? It's just like, maybe it was the lack of crowd, but man, Rhea Ripley really, really needed this victory. Rhea Ripley needed this victory bad, and
it's her time. It's her time.
Yeah, and Charlotte basically, I honestly think both of these women, probably is a little pissed off by not getting the main event. And they showed it like, okay, this is the main event. We're going to make sure this is some people will look back and say this is one of the best matches. Not just women's matches, but some would say this probably could be right up there with the top 10 WrestleMania matches. And I'm sitting there and I'm looking back and I'm like, this, I wouldn't be mad at that. Someone says this is that one of the top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. I wouldn't hate it because these two really brought it, especially that ending sequence. And Rhea Ripley picking up the victory and having the arena cheer for her, which is just looking at the storyline with Dominic and all that stuff, just doesn't. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy for her. I'm happy she gets her flowers, but I'm like, oh dear. And I'm worried because since who's back, that means like, well, looks like she's going to get a face run, which, well, the last time she turned face, it didn't work out for her. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed this match.
Oh, it's a great, it's a great match. They, like you said, started off kind of slow, a little bit sloppy, and then they just started showing out, just going all in for it, and just going after each other, and it was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. I mean, especially that scary ass bump where Charlotte like did the full rotation on that German and landed flat on her face. Oof, that was nasty.
Yeah, it was a very, I was a little bit scared watching this match,
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like it's but I'm happy that this match was everyone looked out, and especially Charlotte, who's smiling, and the reports now she's like going away again.
And
Like,
it's just she kind of pulled an Austin Aries there, where it's like she's smiling.
oh,
Okay.
oh no,
But
that's not as bad as Austin Aries. At least he didn't
oh
just
no, it's like
no sell John. Like, good lord, I still can't believe
yeah,
that happened. Oh
yeah.
goodness. I think oh lord, that actually someone did that in WrestleMania. Something that's like got up and just left. I honestly think they would be just gone forever. I think Hunter or maybe Vinnie Mac would have probably choked them out right there when they get backstage. But LB, what do you think about that match, Ripley and Charlotte? Because I think it was probably the best match of the night, if it one of the top matches of the night.
Yeah, like I'm pretty much in the minority now. Like I did think the match was really good, but I don't think it was like this classic match a lot of people have said it was. Now, as far as what I think was better than this Rhea Ripley Charlotte match at Mania, I think the Charlotte Rhea Ripley match at Money in the Bank 2021. Now, that match I thought was an excellent match, but not many people was really high on that. So, but that's just pretty just my opinion. Now the whole point of you saying about Charlotte smiling, like I like don't think that that was something that was supposed to be shown, because there have been times when people have their big moment or have their big win, the opponent sometimes just smile as far as being happy for them, not knowing the camera is on them. Like I think an example of that was when Bianca won against Sasha. There was a shot of Charlotte smiling, but at the same time, Sasha was selling, like her ribs or whatever. So it didn't really
Mm-hmm.
come off as if, oh, she's smiling or whatever. So, I think that was a Kevin Dunn issue, to be honest. Now, as far as Charlotte leaving, and I pretty much do have a theory, I don't have any sources, but there's a part of me thinking Charlotte is trying to get pregnant, to be honest. Like that's pretty much what I'm thinking, because it is kind of weird how she was gone for a while, came back, win the belt, only to drop it at Mania to now be off again. Now, again, that's just my theory, and I think maybe she's doing that. That's probably like probably just a thing of that doesn't work for me, sister play, because now the focus is on now Rhea and Bianca now,
Mm-hmm.
and meanwhile Charlotte may have to do programs with jobbers like Aaliyah and Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan, and like she probably was like, nah, like I ain't trying to work with none of this shit. So
Oh,
yeah, like I
mm-hmm.
I noticed my husband, he got sent home by his boss for being stupid. Okay, let me get time off. Okay, well, let's try and have a baby, and I'll be out for a while, and I'll make another comeback when they need me.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah,
But then we got
get another couple championship wins.
we'll finally knock off that. She'll have more championship wins than Flair. That the daddy Flair.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep,
then
and
again, Ric Flair is still around, so he might just he might he might get one more. Who knows? NWA still needs money.
He'll probably just have to like put it in his will that he'll have his corpse pin somebody for a championship.
Oh,
and
why do I see it? Why do I see it being the NWA? I'm just
the hilarious part is that like that 16-time record is not the real record anyway. So it's like 21, really, because all those other
Mm-hmm.
titles they didn't recognize Flair for.
Mm, so that's just I got 21. You got 22. Got one of those blackjacks? I got some of those too. Anyway, let's get to that tag team main event. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn takes on the Usos. And man, talk about a PWG type of match. It was.
Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't PWG, don't worry. The match would have been shown 7 months later after the Pete was gone and no one really cares about it. But anyway, this match was great. And just both teams, like I said, great chemistry, the action. And I think the Usos were so happy to basically play like someone to be like on that type of level and do that type of match. Because I feel like if the Usos ever did like this is why I wish WWE really meant to the independent contractors and let them do like excursions and stuff. Because the Usos would have benefited it from that. I mean, could you imagine them just going around and just having like the great tag team matches, like say with the Lucha Brothers and AAA or something, or like
That'd be awesome.
Aussie Open, or you got arrested. So Jay Briscoe brothers, Usos would have been. I honestly think that would legitimize them more, or something like that. You gotta put the Young Bucks there too. If they ever did go with the Young Bucks, you pretty much gonna have a super kick counter right there. But just they would span back to the point that the end of the match would be just have an infinity sign right next to the super kick counter if those two teams ever face. But yeah, this was great. The story was great. The wrestling was great. Everything was on point in this match. And I mean, I can't really get like, I'm like, I don't really know any bad parts of the match because everything flowed perfectly with these each one, and it was a great way for a story to end, especially with the next the next night of WrestleMania, definitive endings. But no, but yeah, that didn't happen. We'll talk about that later. But the Usos, they were great. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, great stuff. And this is like, even though I think Rhea Ripley, Charlotte did some good stuff here, I think these two teams did one of the best tag team matches in probably a straight up tag team match, probably the best one this year so far for WWE.
Yeah, it was.
Like I really have.
Oh, which one?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really got no big issues with this. It was real good for Owens and Sammy to give tribute to PWG. They had the PWG logo on their trunks. For a lot of people not aware, like I think this was really when they first had their big break in the U.S. Then pretty soon, they got picked up by Ring of Honor because usually back then with Ring of Honor is usually filled with the best indie talent. Like it's not like how it is now where they just pick up guys, but back then, like if you was in Ring of Honor, that's because you were one of the best indie wrestlers out there. And if it wasn't for PWG giving Kevin and Sammy that exposure, they probably wouldn't be where they're at now. Now they're in WWE and winning the belts on WrestleMania.
Yeah, this was a fantastic match, fantastic storytelling. The guys all have great chemistry together. Especially the ending sequence with Sammy doing like the 3 haluba kicks to Jay and covering him for the pin, which was just amazing. Overall, just it deserved to be in the main event as much as Charlotte and Rhea, if anything else.
Oh yeah, and definitely, they were just both. Like I said, these two teams did a great job, and unfortunately, sadly, I think this will never happen again with two teams like this in tag team WrestleMania. I would like to see more tag team main events. I would love to see more tag teams get that shine, get that main event opportunity. But this is WWE, and I think this is probably the first and probably last time we're going to see this in a very, very long time. Just unfortunate. But let's move on to the next night as we have Brock Lesnar taking on almost in under 5 minutes. And why do I feel like this match still took too long?
Oh boy.
It's a waste of time at the end of the day.
I'm like almost. If this was the 80s or 90s, man, early 90s, 80s, almost would be like he would be like right there. He would be like making money. He would be like, hey, he's a big dude. He can slam people. You could believe him. You put him like with Hogan, Undertaker, Sting or whatever, that type of stuff, and you'd be fine. It would be fine. Most people would have been okay with it. But now I'm like, he's not that good. He moves like he just can't do all the stuff. He's fine person. I think he's good, decent in the mic. He's intimidating, but I'm like, he just doesn't know how to do that whole wrestle thing. He can't run to the ropes. He's like a bigger Kelly who God love her, but she couldn't run to the ropes, right? That's one of the divas that they just couldn't run to the ropes, and that's what almost. He's like he just can't do it. He can't do it, and Lesnar, bless him, he sold for him, and he did the suplexes, F5, win, and moves on. It goes like it just flies away or something. That he goes to his just goes to the back and goes home.
Yeah, just does F5 1 2 3 peace. I'm out. Goes to the back, gets in his limo, goes to his jet, goes home. Doesn't say
Hunts
nothing to
moose.
nobody. Hunts another moose. F5's the moose.
Yeah, and then goes on Monday Night Raw and destroys Cody Rhodes. Gosh.
We'll get there. Just starting. The story's just starting, guys. The story's just starting. Let it play out.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
no.
the story that's been going on for almost a year has just started.
We'll get there. We're gonna get there, people. But yet, I didn't care for this match. But you know what else I didn't care for is the Fatal 4-Way tag match for the women's match. I'm like, you ever see the whole meme of Luigi wins by doing nothing? That's what this match was. Ronda Rousey wins by doing nothing. And I'm happy Chelsea Green got a WrestleMania match, same as all the other ladies here. I feel bad for Liv Morgan because that woman's Money in the Bank briefcase is cursed. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is. I don't know what happens to it. But every time someone wins it, they just go after they win the title. They just plummet to the center of the earth. I mean, they just plummet, and Liv just fell. After SummerSlam, she looked like a geek when she tapped out while she was like, pinning Ronda Rousey. She tapped out. She had that terrible promo, and she had some decent matches later, and then just loses to Ronda Rousey, and then become irrelevant. And I'm like, she's trying, but I'm like, I feel bad. I feel bad for her. I feel bad.
They really did her no favors with that whole Ronda program.
I feel so bad for her. And Raquel Rodriguez, she's so green and looks so lost in the ring. And I'm like, why did she leave NXT? She didn't need to leave NXT. It just, I'm like,
they needed another body
and a pointless tag division. It is the most pointless tag division and waste of space in that WWE. And the longer this scales out, it just proves Sasha and Naomi Trinity Fatu right by just dropping their belts and walking out. It's just this entire run under the the tag team under Hunter's reign has proven them right. This tag division is one of the worst. I would say probably the worst tag divisions, women's tag divisions. In a terrible state. It's probably the worst state when than last year. It was the worst state I don't like how they can go bottom, but WWE says, well, there's a little bit more dirt we can keep going down. We could just keep going, and they did. And this Ronda Rousey, Sansa Baszler, who probably gonna be out for long, and that's it. That's all I gotta say. It's just they waste. This is a complete waste of time,
Yeah,
and I hate that. I hate that. I hate saying that.
yeah, they're just counting the days until Ronda's arm is healed up so that she and Shayna can take the women's tag titles, because that's apparently what Ronda wants to do.
So the biggest takeaway I got from this match is that this is one of the biggest reasons why I've been saying now for the past 3 years now, is that they need to stop doing these 2 night WrestleManias. Go ahead and go back to one. Now there's been people arguing, oh, it should be 2 nights, should be 2 nights. And my thing is this: look, first off, not everybody needs to be on the biggest show. Not everybody needs to be on it. If it turns out if certain people's not on the show, and if it's booked by a competent promotion, then pretty much at the end of the day, all I can say to those people is to get better, and hopefully you'll be on the big show next year. But because you have 2 shows, and this has been proven not just by WWE but by New Japan, these people cannot have compelling matches every single time with 2 shows. Now, if you would just have 1 show and have 8 matches that will last about 3 to 4 hours, I mean, that would be a whole lot better. Instead, we have to be stuck with this women's match, which was shit. We got to deal with Brock and Omos. We got to deal with that 6-woman tag. Like we had to deal with a whole lot of garbage. But if you just had your 8 matches, and I can name 8 matches off top that you had in 2 nights, you combine that into one, it could be argued it probably would have been maybe a top 10 WrestleMania, possibly, if you just had your eight most important matches on one show. But since you got 2, we got to deal with this crap.
Oh yes, and this is it is. But good news, we finally have something to wash away this stuff. Is the big man slapping meat for the Triple Threat Intercontinental Championship match. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, and wow, this is something and by the way, Titus O'Neil, great on commentary.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, these guys and there was 3 standing ovations in this match, by the way. 3.
Yeah,
by just eating. Yeah, 3 guys beating each other the hell and back. Sheamus looking like he's having the best time of his life. Drew McIntyre doing what he's been doing since he came back to WWE. I'm like, I don't want to say the Intercontinental title is like, oh, it's beneath. I'm like, this man should be in the main event. I mean, he should be for the World Championship at this point, and he should be in that rotation. And Gunther is soon to be in that rotation. I bet, if they play their cards right, he should be in that rotation by the end of this year. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me. But yeah,
the thing is, you put Drew back in the main event, they'll just have Roman kill him again.
Which is, well, that's what WWE does, and it pisses me off. But if we actually did. Had competency, you actually would have had, maybe a Clash of the Castle. He did win, and Drew versus Cody would have actually been interesting, but that's just me. But yeah, this match, great stuff. And I honestly thought Sheamus might have won here, or Drew might have won, but Gunther coming in out of nowhere, splashing everybody, hitting a power bomb on not just Sheamus, knocking Drew on top of Drew, and then putting the powerbomb on Drew and picking up the victory, which is very interesting because Drew McIntyre, he supposedly he's not signed. This is his last year on his contracts, and he's been he's not on. He wasn't on SmackDown, so if I was gonna say, I mean, let's see, Drew Galloway in the G1. And when he's motivated, I think it would be great to see. That's just me. But overall, I love this match. Again, this was honestly, I would say this is my match of the night. I would say it's my match of the night. Just those 3 did a great job.
Yeah,
It's
it was a
very rare for me to say this about WWE. Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh no, I was basically just gonna say like, yeah, that was like just some prime. That was just a prime Haas match. Just three big beefy guys just beating the shit out of each other, just doing chops and just making each other's chests like redder than Santa Claus's cheeks. Just slap, 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 slap. It was just brutal. But yeah, Gunther's been killing it. Honestly, he's he's been on a roll. I mean, freaking, especially his turn at the Royal Rumble, coming at number one and lasting all the way until Cody eliminated him. That's like I mean, they're making that guy a star.
As far as this match goes, it's something I rarely say about WWE matches, but I thought that was one of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen. I think it's on par with the great matches that I saw with Devitt, Loki, and Taguchi from New Japan over 10 years ago. I think about The Rock, Angle, Taker, and Vengeance 2002. Obviously Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. I think it's on par with all those triple threat matches from the past though. So yeah, like this was arguably the match of the whole weekend. I mean, you look at the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor matches, you look at some of the WrestleCon matches and whatnot. Yeah, like it's if anybody want to say that this was a match of the whole weekend, I would not argue with you at all. As far as Gunther goes, like I know Duke CT, like you mentioned, like possibly he'll be pushed even harder, whatever. And I kind of laughed at that because like you do know who's back, quote unquote back, and at that time, Vince, he was not a fan of Gunther, and when he got put to the main roster, there were reports saying that he was going to bury him and take him back to NXT. And luckily, when Vince had to run away like a coward, you had Triple H at the helm, and Triple H pretty much saved him. Now that Vince is back, I mean, like, is he now believing in Gunther now? Now that he's been gone, and now he sees what Gunther is, or does Vince have that same mentality? So, like it wouldn't be, too, like I wouldn't be too optimistic about Gunther's future now. I mean, hell, like it's a possibility as far as the story goes with the other guy in the main event. Shoot, like it would not surprise me if it was Cody that in Gunther's Intercontinental title reign. Like that definitely wouldn't surprise me one bit. And but yeah, as far as Drew, like if it turns out if he don't resign, yeah, G1 would be awesome. If he goes to AEW, I could definitely see him be a great TNT champion, a great possible international champion, make that the workhorse title up to another level. So yeah, great match.
Oh yeah, it was, and we got another one with Bianca Belair taking on Asuka, who I think Bianca Belair and a lot of people, I think the Skype talkers talked about this when they had their live stream, and I think I agree. Bianca Belair is Miss WrestleMania. I think that is definitive right now. Just every match she's in is one of the most memorable. It's one of the most exciting and fun. And not to dissuade Asuka, who is what she has not won one match at WrestleMania, which is so. I feel like that's like, man, I feel
Kind
like
of
she
feel
really
bad for
needs
her.
to. Yeah, I feel bad. And also the entrances were good, and that I feel bad for that young girl who's according like to Hunter's press conference, her mom passed during the earlier that day, and to continue that performance is like is amazing. And I just all my thoughts and prayers to that young child over there. It's hopefully she has a support structure that is help her go through this horrific time and such. But back to the match, it was great. Both women, great chemistry with each other. The action was on point. Like I said, Asuka should have won. I think Bianca doesn't really. If Bianca loses here, it doesn't hurt her. It doesn't,
Hmm.
right? I mean, she has become the John Cena, but people like her and such. She could just take a loss here, but maybe she's trying to have that nice big year run. I think she could take. I don't know. Where she could lose it. SummerSlam, a title unification, which would be even worse because we don't want to have that. That has really clogged up the division in like the tag division and the champion world title stuff. But overall, I just wish that Bianca, uh, you know, I think Bianca, she's great. I don't know who else could beat her at this point. Um, you know, she's just beat everybody. So I think, like I said, I think Oscar and should have won here. But overall, I still enjoyed the match here. Good stuff though.
Yeah, it was a fantastic match between the two. They had really good chemistry, and it just like showcasing Bianca's power to basically will herself out of Asuka's submissions and just hoist her up for the KOD. Which, and also I kind of like the bit where she ducks the mist, and which was kind of wild. But other than that, yeah, it was a really good match. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement with y'all. I do think Oscar should have won. I think with Bianca, now that she has the belt for a full year, you can only ask yourself what's next. Looks like they're teasing a unification match, which I am not a fan of. Like how I am about those titles being unified, Duke CT. Like I always find it to be an issue and give less opportunities for a lot of other people, but looks like they're kind of teasing that. Um, and Yeah, like as far as Bianca being Miss WrestleMania, I would say that more so for her interests, because now for the second entrance in a row, she has really devoted her interests to her culture. Like, and I think that's one of the most underrated things, and not what a lot of people really do appreciate about her is that she has not one time that I've seen ever since she was wrestling in NXT up until now, not one time have I ever seen her compromise herself trying to be somebody that she isn't. And for her as a black woman, especially, that is a very daunting task because there's a lot of stereotypes, a lot of stupid prejudgments about black women in this country. And for her to be unapologetically her and to have the entrance she had last year with the HBCU band, and then this year having all those girls, the divas of Compton out there doing all that while she's still herself. That is really going to be her legacy, if you ask me, when it's all said and done. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Yes, I think that's
Hmm.
going to be. I think it's going to be a really. I'm really excited to see what's she going to do in Philly the next year, and who knows that. But then, oh boy, Snoop Dogg and Miz, which, and then they had the little thing, and then here comes the money, and there goes the money. Oh, oh, Shane, Shane. Was already blew up when he went down to the ring.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm like, oh goodness, Shane McMahon, who probably the reason why they brought him back was basically for, I guarantee you, it's just for the UFC stuff too. Oh gosh. And then he did, they did their little stuff and he was doing a leapfrog and then there goes his quad. Ah,
Yep.
Shane. But props to Snoop Dogg and props to the referee and everyone else keeping things on the level, keeping things like didn't go off the rails.
It was a hell of an audible Snoop called, if the stories are to be believed.
Yeah, Snoop did. He did not panic. I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers who would have panicked. A lot of people would have panicked and everything else.
He was probably too high to panic.
You just go like, you know what? I'm just gonna go punch Miz.
Like he was just chilling. Then he saw Shane was down, looked at the referee like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me just go in here and punch this dude real quick."
Do a little people's elbow action. I mean, it was more entertaining than Pat McAfee coming back. Although it was funny to hear Michael Cole basically just orgasm like at the thought of seeing Pat McAfee again, and Corey Graves just looking at him like a jilted lover, just like it was just
And they
funny.
and meanwhile, I mean, you have Pat doing his little jump out there, and I think almost Miz didn't catch him. And then I'm like, it's just like, man, you know. And speaking of non-catching, I saw the NXT show in that women's ladder match. I'm like, oh goodness, why did they? If you saw the show, oh lord, it was like that one spot, and you had 3 other ladies there, and she fell right she fell right on her backside, and there was like only 2, maybe one hand right there. I was like, oh lord, who tried to catch her in the middle?
It just wasn't that spot that Tiffany Stratton took. Like, I don't know if you saw that one spot. What's her name? Valkyria. She did a spine buster on Stratton on the ladder, and it was nothing but her lower back hit the edge of that ladder.
Oh, I saw that. I was like, oh lord.
I was like, Jesus. I was like,
you trying to
like, I know her back is. I know her back was killing her because she took that front flip and barely anyone caught her. Then later in the match, she took that spine buster on the edge of the ladder. It was nothing but her back, nothing but her lower back. I was like, oh my god, I know that sucked.
Oh, that was terrible. And hopefully she gets better. But I'm gonna say this. Brood Edge coming out with a Slayer and with a mirror mask, which some say was good. I like Slayer was nice, but then the Demon Finn Balor, which I gotta say, man, Finn had like a grade 2 tear, like quad things. He was out for 6-8 weeks, but he toughed it out. And then this match, he had a huge gash on his head. Like, oh my goodness, this man is like, the walking wounded.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, not as insane as doing a Hell in a Cell match with half your body falling off, but that's a trooper right there.
Oh yes, but I want to say this: the match though was terrible. I'm sorry. It's better than Shane and Undertaker, but then again, anything would be better than Shane and Undertaker. But that should not be the baseline for Hell in a Cell matches at WrestleMania, because my goodness, the match they had. Oh my goodness, they got like colorful chairs, the kendo sticks, different colors. I'm like, what is this? If it was a New Day, I would expect it, but I was like, wow. And then the match just stopped. I'm like, okay, fix that big gaping hole for Finn. I'm like, I don't want him to bleed out and stuff like that. But man, it just felt like after that Shane McMahon injury, everything just fell apart. This whole thing just like.
I would probably say that this match was better than the Roman Braun Strowman Hell in a Cell and the Seth versus the Fiend Hell in a Cell.
Those matches actually well, at least this match had a finish.
This match had at the very least this match had a finish, like a definitive end, and weren't like marred by bullshit like ref stoppage or Brock Lesnar coming in to steal the show.
Well, that's what we are. Just lower expectations, and eventually we'll get surprised one of these days. But that's Hell in a Cell for you. But at least I'll say one thing. At least they made it silver this time. Not candy coated this big red thing that looks like a giant toy. instead of actually something one of the most demonic structures, which they said themselves. It's like destroying those. That's just the evilest structure, the cage, and then it's like, oh, just paint it red. Yeah, that's not intimidating at all. But I wanted to like this match. I did. I wanted to like this match, but it's just like I don't know what it is. I just did not like it at all.
But I liked it, but we've seen much better. We've seen much worse. It's just kind of. I mean, in terms of Hell in a Cell matches, it's kind of mid, which is,
yeah.
I mean, which you can take for what it is.
Yeah, LV, what do you think about this match? Because I tried, but I just like no. These two deserved a better way to end off their feud.
Yeah, like the match. Yeah, the match got hurt obviously with the ref stoppage. Like we all know why, because it's PG and whatnot. But but the stuff like that where I say it may be just best just to retire that match at the end of the day because because back then like Hell in a Cell was really more so of the culmination of a feud. And if it turns out if there's blood, hey, that enhances the match. Now I'm pretty much not saying that blood is needed per se, but in a match like this where it's a bloodthirsty feud, to have some type of blood would obviously help. And when it came to this, with the ref stoppage, which we haven't really seen in a long time, a ref stoppage of blood, because we saw people like Lesnar and others bleeding, and there was no stoppage of that. So that pretty much hurt it. The whole colorful weapons thing, I don't know what the point of that was. Now, not sure if that match was sponsored, because a lot of these matches were sponsored by different brands and different companies. So
it sort of was.
So I'm not sure if
it might have been.
Sorry, yeah, because they had. Sorry to interrupt, but they had a thing with Russell Crowe, who's like promoting his movie called The Pope's Exorcist or something, and that was kind of like the sponsor for the match.
Yeah, like I was kind of assuming that may have something to do with something, because otherwise I was just like, what is this? But yeah, like it pretty much got hurt by the stoppage. I mean, didn't really help. A lot of people wanted the match to end at that point, pretty much ruined the momentum of it. And it goes back to what I said, like I really do think they really need to start considering just nixing this gimmick. Because without the blood, where again, I'm not saying it's needed, but if it turns out if someone bleeds, like you gotta let that go. That's just me.
Yeah, but I think you can end it there or bring back the blood, since they're partner with UFC and such. So maybe they'll bring a little bit of that back.
Well, if I may, I mean, I saw like the gash on Finn's head. Like it's one of those things where like if it continued to go as hard as they did, there was probably like a real chance like his like of serious injury. But so I know I understand. It's like if it's like gushing from like the forehead or something, like blood like that, and I mean fine with that all day. But
the Jon Moxley special.
Yeah, the Jon Moxley special. Yeah, there you go.
But now let's. But overall, I think it was mid. Hell of a mid match. Now we get to our main event. Mid in the cell. The main event as Roman Reigns takes on Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, and just like that, the story ends with a whimper, as it goes down to every single version of it, because the match honestly was good. In the bubble, it was really good. Both Rhodes and Reigns had great chemistry. Their action was on point. And if there was a way to end it, was when the ref bump, and Cody, getting beaten down by the Usos, then Sammy and Kevin come down, beat up the Usos, then beat up, stunner, haluva kick, and then he gets up and just hits like 3 or 4 crossroads, 1, 2, 3, ends the match, people would be going home happy, singing the Kingdom song, whoa, the entire time. It would have been nice. And would have had a great ending. Instead, now we have Cody Rhodes basically getting knocked down by Solo Sikoa, pinfall, and then a rubber chicken gets thrown into the middle of the ring while Roman Reigns is celebrating on the ramp. That's the match. I didn't lie or make anything up. That's what happened. It's the same thing, and I'm just like, what is this thing? What is the story? Is this continues permanently? And now we have Rhodes getting his ass kicked by Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns is to take a siesta until what, SummerSlam? Nobody's going to break that record. He's not going to even defend the title.
It's easy to break a long-standing title reign record, if you don't defend it.
I just miss when championships titles were actually defended, and instead of just like, oh well, this is gonna keep like, oh my goodness, it's the match just kept. I like Roman. This character, the Tribal Chief, is nice, but he should have lost that title a long time ago. He needed to lose that title probably at Clash at the Castle, and now it's just been way too damn long. It's way long. It's just so. I'm like, what's the point? What's the point of this match? What's the point of him continuing? It's just like he gets another. He'll beat the 1,000-day record, or heck, he might actually beat the Bruno Sammartino record, which is like.
He'd have to hold it. Yeah, he'd have to hold it until like 2028 or something to do that.
Yeah, and I think they're actually priming for that at this point. And I mean, at this point, who are they going to bring in? Who? They can't keep doing this rotating stuff at this point. I mean, you think people are exhausting now? It just becomes so boring, and even worse. I like the end press conference, like, oh, we're in the third inning. I'm like, Roman, no. The game is over. It's done. They should have just dropped the title and then do the thing with Brock. Or heck, entice Drew to stay so he can do a feud with Cody. It's right there. Both guys went away. They tag team a bit. They went away, built themselves up in the independents. And then, Drew is still like he's jealous that he felt like he fell off and Cody just took his spot. There's the story, ladies and gentlemen. How about that story? Wouldn't that be a nice story?
No,
you didn't need like
be
500 video packages. You don't need 500 video packages and everything else. I'm just you can tell that I'm just pissed off by this ending because everything was lining up, and then it just completely collapsed within itself. And I blame honestly the Papa Hunter here. He was the one who booked all this stuff. He booked this right down here. You know what?
And here's the thing. He used the thing about wrestling being serialized and that the story never ends or something like that to basically justify the decision here. But here's the thing though. I mean, it would be the ending of Cody's chase to fulfill his father's dream, his father's legacy. Winning a world title. It would have been the end of that story. But then you would go to the next, and then you would go into the next story. I mean, serialized stories, serialized characters do have endings to certain stories, but they begin another one. I mean, exactly. That's how fucking feuds work. Sorry, but
go ahead, man. I mean, that's fine. But I mean, LV, you got any thoughts about that too? I mean, because it's just serialized. They just don't. That's the problem with WWE. They don't know how to build or finish any type of story.
Yeah, like I found that, like I really found that very interesting that Triple H would say that. Then my question to him would say, if I was at that press conference, I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, then how come the story with Booker T ended just 20 years ago and y'all never followed up on that? But okay. But anyways, like as far as Cody losing, the only thing I could do was laugh because it's just typical WWE. I mean, like what? Like, it was like the third fumble they did in 6 months on trying to get the belt off Roman. I mean, they had it right there with Drew in his home country in front of all those people, like their first major pay-per-view in the UK in how many years. You had it right there. A lot of people could buy Drew as a guy to beat Roman. I mean, like, we're not talking about Jay Uso, a tag team wrestler, where nobody believes Jay can beat Roman. We're not talking about the Cesaros of the world. We're not talking about the Rey Mysterios or any like that we don't buy to beat Roman. Drew was that guy, and they pretty much didn't do it. Then you transition into Sami Zayn, and obviously, we all know about with Sami Zayn. A lot of people could buy Sami Zayn at that point in the story that he could beat Roman, regardless of him being an underdog. Instead, they did it on a B pay-per-view, and Sami Zayn lost in front of his hometown. Then you go to Cody Rhodes. I mean, again, only thing I could do was just laugh at it. And as far as this whole ridiculousness about saying, "Oh, the story's just starting," and yada yada yada. Okay, then I want you to apply that same logic to when Steve Austin won at Mania, to when Kofi won at Mania, to when Cena won at Mania, to when Batista won at Mania, to when Hangman won at Full Gear. Like, that pretty much doesn't make much sense. So if you're willing to jump out the window and stand on this hill that Cody losing was the right decision, then I want you to apply that same logic to Austin. So with Austin, he should have lost at WrestleMania while Mike Tyson was there at ringside when the whole world was watching. And if it wasn't for that event, that would have not jump started the actual Attitude Era. So with your logic, you mean to tell me Austin should have lost just so he can go through adversity and have a story being told? And we're just in the third inning, and you would have Austin win at what? Backlash, fully loaded. I mean, come on now, that makes no sense. It's pretty much the same thing with Cena. When Cena and JBL at WrestleMania 21, we all knew Cena was going to be the guy on SmackDown. We knew this. Then you have him come to Mania. JBL was already the champion. A lot of people are tired of JBL being the champion. So you mean to tell me you would have had Cena lose just for the story to keep going until what? No Mercy. Same thing with Batista. You would have had Batista lose at Mania 21. Like, come on. So yeah, man. Like,
freaking Daniel Bryan lose at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. Like I just really like I would really appreciate it more if Triple H or whoever else thinks that was good. Like, I would appreciate it more to just say, hey, look, this guy Cody, he basically came from our competition. He's a big star there, and we are not going to allow an AEW guy to beat the guy that we made Roman Reigns in front of 70,000 people on our biggest show of the year. We ain't letting that happen. I would appreciate that more if they would just say it like that.
Yeah, and by the way, looking at other videos and such, it remind me of. They said there's a Sean James. He's talked about this. He said this reminded him of Starrcade '97, where everything was aligned when Sting was right there, and they did this BS finish where Hogan, with his creative control, came down, had that whole beat Sting pillar to put us. Brian, as oh gosh, he was like, and he beat him, and they beat him, and they beat him, and beat him, and all different stuff. And then, just like that, with a regular pinfall, beat Sting 1, 2, 3. And then they had the whole BS stuff, and then Sting finally winning, and the crowd didn't believe this.
And one thing another thing I'll add is that the hype it's like any sort of hype that they try to build now is going to pale in comparison to the hype they were making for Mania. They're not going to top that hype. I mean, because you've taken away any reason to care. I mean, because what's going to stop?
Pretty much, if you,
what's going to stop Roman from just doing the same thing? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, like I was about to say, like, and if you look at what's going on now, Cody's now feuding with Brock now. Now, just imagine if it was Cody that won, he's the new champion. You know, with Roman, obviously he's a part-timer now. So you have a reason for Roman Reigns to take off. You know, you can just have Roman Reigns said, hey, look, you know, like I gotta take off. You know, I just lost my belt. You know, I'm distraught. And then meanwhile, Cody's looking for a new challenger, and boom, Brock Lesnar's there. So you could have do a program with Brock and Cody for like the next 3 months over the belt, instead of this nonsense of Cody basically being a loser and he wants a shot at Roman, and then he looks like a geek trusting Brock Lesnar. He gets attacked, and so now you're doing a program with Lesnar and Cody with no title while your champions at home, and the only draw is really Bad Bunny. That's it. Like, come on.
Hey, it's sold out at the end of the day, so it works for him. There's no real company. There's no real no reason for them to stop. And personally, if they would just get, like I said, gave Roman, you know, and then, like I said, if I truly believe this, if they have Roman lose here, you can have him take his break, long break. He comes back. They can do a breakdown of the bloodline. Have Jey Uso pick up the big victory, and then, you know, and then in the last bit, have Imperium come in, beat the crap out of them. Just, you know, Jey finally leaves, you know, the bloodline and all that type of stuff. Have Imperium clean up the rest and have them all destroyed. And then there you go. You can build up Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion, who probably would have been like past the honky tonk man streak, and build him up to face against Cody, like at the Rumble. Cody versus Gunther for the Undisputed Championship at the Rumble. There you go. And then instead, we get, what do we get? Brock Lesnar doing this. Roman basically feeling like, oh, can I trust Paul Heyman again? We're going through all this stuff again. It doesn't. What are we doing here? It's Groundhog Day, right? It's Groundhog Day, and we're just gonna be doing the same thing over because they're so desperate to say, "Hey, Roman got past 1,000 days. Oh, he passed middle sandwich. Like, who cares?
Who cares? Yeah, who gives a shit? Why is that so important? He's already a future Hall of Famer. What more do you fucking want?
I don't know at this point. I don't know. At this point, they just were wasting time. They wasted time and energy building this stuff.
And yeah, like LV was saying, they basically made Cody Rhodes look like a fucking idiot out there.
Yeah, well, you know, at least Cody has his rubber chicken, so that's a positive at least.
Yeah. Oh, I never got since I didn't get to say my piece on the first 3 matches of night 1. I'll just go ahead and power through them real quick if that's okay.
No problem.
Austin Theory versus John Cena, mid as fuck. Fatal 4-Way had no right to be as good as it was. Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Seth Rollins winning was the right decision. Logan Paul can't stand the asshole, but I will not deny he is athletically talented.
Yeah, and he just resigned, so looks like that whole I heard there's rumors like Logan Paul versus Hangman Page for Wembley Stadium is out, which is.
I mean, hey, Hangman can show him how to do a buckshot lariat.
You know, I guarantee if they made that match into a Texas Death Match, I guarantee they would have sold the league. If they would did that, they would probably got at least a guaranteed 10,000 people would have showed up. More 10,000 at least.
Well, yeah, because everybody would want to see Logan Paul get fucking shredded.
Oh goodness.
Probably if that's the case that they do have it at Wembley Stadium, maybe TK can give free tickets to all the people Logan Paul scammed in that crypto scam too.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
hell, you know what? Get them all kendo sticks, and they can beat the shit out of them.
Oh
I'll,
man.
I'll pretty much give you 90,000 people easily.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that thing already they already got like 25 25,000 people already signed up there. So it might, when it sells, it might actually get up to 60,000, which is going to be amazing. I don't know where they're going to be. That's going to be a fun show. And I'm like, and meanwhile, Forbidden Door is already sold out. I mean, it's already, there's like no, if you try to get a ticket now, it's gone. And I'm like, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what else they gonna have? This, they're gonna have Forbidden Door, then they're gonna have All In, then they're gonna have All Out, supposedly a week later, and then they're gonna have Grand Slam. Oh man.
They also got Double or Nothing in May.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
I hope Tony, I hope TK has a whole bunch of that nice Scarface powder over there to keep himself company for a while. Because, him and Ring of Honor, it's gonna be a very fun time. But yeah. But anyway, I believe this is a way we can end it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. Writersblock and LV, thanks for joining me.
Oh no, it's always a pleasure, man. It's great to meet you, Writersblock. You know, Writersblock. I don't think we ever met before, but nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, LV. Duke, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, and hopefully next year, maybe Roman will not have the championship, or with all luck, could be like, yes, Roman Reigns finally dropped the title. Bad news is it was to Logan Paul.
If anything can get me to stop, if anything would get me to stop following WWE, it would be that.
Like, and Vince would be like, hey, you wanted the title off of him. Well, here it is, pal.
You really want to piss people off? Give it to Logan Paul.
Yes.
And then watch the entire locker room just walk out and protest.
It's just gonna be a fun time. Just me, just sitting back on my Twitter, and everyone's still coping. By the way, they were saying, from, oh, don't worry, Jay White's gonna come and everything else, and he'll be just fine. And then next on Wednesday, they all just say Jay White's crap and no one likes him and he stinks and everything. I'm like, yes, okay. You got it out of your system, and now it's saying, F you, Vince, and everything else. I'm like, yeah,
yes,
whatever.
Yes, Mr. Sherman, everything stinks.
Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. This is Duke CT here. Peace and love. I will see y'all when I see y'all. Later.
Peace out.
Good night.
Hey.
Yep. Thanks for